Parents in Singapore are facing a dilemma. On one hand, the government is urging them to reduce study time for the children or taking them outdoors just to play. On the other hand, a highly competitive education system forces them to enroll their children into advanced study classes, and that includes weekends. Miro Liu explains.
Sunday is a very precious time for all of you, and choose to come down to.
Learning math on Sunday afternoons is no great fun, but unfortunately, that's part of the routine for many Singaporean children. Tuition might be seen as an extra help for struggling students in other parts of the world, but it is viewed as a necessity in Singapore. This tuition center even offers classes for parents, so they can be better equipped to help their children at home.
Today's workshop is more meant for parents. Okay, the reason why we face issues like parents having problems trying to help their children in their work. And what we are doing now for the parents is teaching them how then to teach their children.
Singapore's competitive education system is partly responsible for the tuition boom. The number of tuition and enrichment centers registered with the Ministry of Education has jumped from 700 in 2012 to 800 last year. The government statistics show that Singapore families spent $1.1 billion on after-schooling in 1 year. While the local tuition culture has grown stronger than ever before, Singapore's Prime Minister shares a different view on parenting. He recently called on parents to take their children outdoors and play, saying sunlight exposure can reduce the risk of child myopia. Singapore has one of the highest prevalence of myopia in the world, especially among the young generation. More than half of Singaporean children develop myopia at the age of 12 years old. To deal with this growing problem, the government has launched a national myopia prevention program.
The National Myopia Prevention Program has a two-pronged approach. Firstly, public awareness to promote good eye care habits, such as encouraging children to go out and play and taking a break after 30 to 40 minutes of near work. The second approach is regular vision screening, which focuses on early detection, management and monitoring of myopia in children.
The biggest factor in short-sightedness is the lack of time spent outdoors. In Singapore, a combination of not being outdoors and doing lots of work focusing up close worsens the problem. Now the challenge Singaporean parents face is how to keep their children ahead of the game in school without losing focus. Miro Liu, CCTV, Singapore.
The right to educate children at home without government supervision or interference is a big debate here in the U.S., and that fight is becoming increasingly contentious. Andrea explains.
This is not your typical school field trip. Kids of all ages, along with their parents, are visiting the state capital in Richmond, Virginia. It's part of their homeschool academic curriculum. In recent years, one-on-one home education has gained momentum nationwide. And as the number of children being taught at home grows, so does the debate about how much of this process should be monitored by authorities.
The United States Department of Education estimates that there are some 2 million kids being homeschooled. 36,000 of them are here in the state of Virginia.
So is it your?
Although home education is legal in all 50 states, there are different regulations and requirements for each one. 11 states do not require families to register with any agency in order to homeschool their child. 14 do not specify the subjects that should be taught at home, and only 9 states require parents to have at least a high school diploma to teach their children.
Some states have more requirements and others less requirements. It just depends on where you live. This state here in Virginia is a moderate state. We have a reasonable law and we have some accountability measures with end-of-the-year testing for students.
Katrina and her husband Kevin have homeschooled their 10-year-old twins since kindergarten. They say that every parent should be able to have the option to teach their kids.
The government is already far too involved in education, and as far as homeschooling goes, we believe that parents are best equipped to educate their children.
Parents choose to homeschool for a variety of reasons: religion, dissatisfaction with academic standards, and concerns about the physical well-being of their child. But there are some who believe homeschooling has drawbacks. 27-year-old Sarah Jones recalls feeling isolated during her homeschooling days.
To qualify for a teaching job in any other educational environment, you do have to go to college, you have to pass basic tests, and you're subject to oversight. And I don't think it makes any sense for homeschool parents to be subjected to less regulation.
For advocates like Sarah, regulation doesn't just mean supervision. It's also scheduled home visits by state officials to monitor families as well. But for those who want the right to educate at home, they argue that's not oversight. It's government interference and intrusion. Andrea, CCTV, Richmond, Virginia.